Hey, what's going on? So today I want to do a video on one of the worst movements that you can do for a good or bad back, either way. So most people here are suffering from back pain, and that's probably why you're watching this video. So especially if you have a bad back, the chances are that this movement is what has made your back bad. But before I do that, I want to tell a little story. So if you haven't heard my story, I'll just share a little bit of it. So I injured my back playing basketball. Hey, and I'd love to know where you're checking in from, so go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what back pain you're dealing with and where you're checking in from. We'd love to see, there's people from all over the world who check in and watch these videos, and we love to hear from them. So go ahead and leave that in the comments now. So, okay, I injured my back. I was in pain for a while. This was when I was a teenager, right? So I played basketball, I fell on my back. Most people have the same story. It's something happened, then they got back pain, and then they've lived with it for the rest of their life. So don't think you're unique. This happens to many people. So here's the deal. I injured my back, fell on it playing basketball. I went to a physical therapist. It didn't help at all. In fact, it got worse. So eventually I ended up going to a chiropractor. This was the chiropractor that figured out I had a broken part of my back that the hospital missed. They took x-rays of my organs instead of my spine. So when I went to this chiropractor, he took x-rays of my spine and he said, well, you can see it in the hospital x-ray that you broke your spine, but that's not what they were looking at. They were looking at your organs. I took an x-ray of your spine. Here's your transverse process, this is the transverse process. So that's broken. And so that was the first thing that happened. I said, okay, well now I have some feedback. I actually broke a piece of my spine. And then he said, what are you doing at the physical therapist's? And I showed him this movement. And I showed him how I was sitting down and I was doing this twisting rotation movement. And that's part of what I'm going to show you today. And so I just got a message from my good friend, and he was telling me about what he just did. He just injured his back, and he explained to me what he did. His feet were planted, and he twisted the spine. And so we know, and this is through research, that when you have compression on the discs, so just think of the disc is right here. When there's more compression on the disc, and then you twist the spine, notice that this doesn't have much mobility. So when you twist the spine, it doesn't do it well as like if I just bend this way, this goes easy. If you twist the spine, all the pressure is on the disc. So when you're twisting the spine and you don't have the core integrity to support the structure, and so all the pressure is going on the discs, that's where acute injury happens. And when acute injury happens, that's when you can have something like a bulge. This is actually a picture of a cyst, but let's just say the disc broke slightly and now it's leaking onto this nerve, and say this nerve is your sciatic nerve, and that pain will now radiate down the leg. So that's a perfect example. And so I'm going to show you the worst movement that can cause this. And this is what we see all the time. We see people get injured by picking up paper clips, making their bed, doing their laundry, because what happens is their feet are firmly planted, and then they, even worse, go into flexion, and then they do the twist. So let me try to show you really quickly. Let me put this down here for a second, so you guys can see. So here's the movement. So feet planted and twisting the spine, especially with the pelvis staying straight. So if you're just trying to rotate the body, all of that force is going up on the discs. If you've been sitting all day and there's compression, then that's even worse, because the more compression plus the torquing makes everything worse. All right, so the last thing you want to do is lean forward, go into spinal flexion, and then twist your body. This is where we see most of the damage occur. So it comes from hunching over and then twisting to pick something up. So when you are picking something up, what you want to do is back nice and straight, squat down as straight as you can, and stand directly over the thing. Don't twist to pick it up. So that's one simple thing. So compression plus the twisting and spinal flexions creates damage. It wears on the discs, and you have only so many times to do spinal flexion plus the twist until the disc is wore down completely. So save your discs. Move correctly again, squatting, back straight, go right over the thing that needs to be picked up, pick it up, and then move on. So that's the number one reason that people damage the discs and end up in acute pain, and that's the main movement that I just did that you want to do to protect your spine so that, one, you're getting stronger, because the movement that I just showed you will make you stronger and protect your spine. And the more you do that type of movement correctly, the stronger you'll be, and the more your back will be protected. And that's why we created the Back Pain Relief for Life program, is so that you decompress the spine, you get more blood flow, nutrients, and oxygen, you make the discs more supple so that you can move more freely without damaging the spine, and then you strengthen around the area so that everything else becomes easier, like the movement I just showed you. So I hope you guys found this helpful. Love to hear where you're checking in from. Go ahead and click the link below if you are interested in our back program.